All right. We'll go through this thing. We won't spend forever on it. You guys have been around here for a long time. Know that I tend to be exhaustive when I talk about patch notes. I do really like discussions on these things, but I think we circle back on it from time to time and don't try to spend like 4 hours on it in one pass. I've lost my voice talking about patch notes in the past. So we get moving. So change all instances of gain 1 gold this turn only to gain 1 gold. Basically a non-functional change. It's just wording. Also for blood gems. For future reference, it's just these are exactly the same behaviors as before, but they just made it a little more concise on the card text. Or at least like fewer characters. And we've had a lot of cards that have run out of character limit on the card description. So this is actually a pseudo-necessary thing, most likely, where they ended up with a place where they couldn't fit all the text. And they were like, how do we consolidate this? Less wordy, better, as long as it's fully descriptive. This is more descriptive, but whatever. Let's not be pedantic on the opening patch note. New hero, the Jailor, has no name, just the Jailor. Runic empowerment, give a minion +1/1, upgrades after 9 friendly minions die. So basically this is a 1/1 buff for 1 gold early in the game, becomes a 2/2 buff, a 3/3 buff, 4/4 buff, so on and so forth as the game progresses. Yeah. Is this good? I mean, it's kind of like when Edwin's good, this kind of thing would be decent. Because you can play into mech stuff. You get like 14, 15-ish minions dying on the board in a typical mech combat with microbots. Maybe a reset or two. So by like turn 10, turn 11, you can make decent deflectos. You can make decent cleave. That kind of stuff. It feels like when Edwin's good, this will be good. Which is like, that's okay. But Edwin hasn't been good for a minute. Edwin's decent right now. Playable? Yeah. The right kind of lobbies, the tempo lobbies, you can play him. But 1 gold is expensive, and 1 gold in the mid-game for like a 2/2 or a 3/3 just isn't even worth it. Unless you're floating and you're just going to roll the board. So you got to make an argument for like, this is a worthless hero power for like 3 or 4 turns. Then it's a barely tolerable hero power on turns 5 through 8. And then it's like a 3/3 or 4/4 buff in the mid game. I can't see this being great. Alright, moving on. I think the bigger problem I have with this hero isn't that it's not good, but it's also just not fun. We have way too many heroes as it is. Why do we need more heroes that read, do something vanilla to put a few stats on a minion? Yay. Fewer games with interesting heroes. Instead, we have to play this now. Woo! It's going to be in every game for 2 weeks, too. He's good because of nipples. I mean, that's fair. Like, I mean, he's in pretty good shape. That's something. Look at that nice dome. Got a good wax game going on right here. Fair enough, fair enough. Moving on. Now that's much more interesting in the changes to heroes. Cthulhu is back. You no longer have to push the button every turn to increase the Cthulhu stack. They probably realized that most people playing Cthulhu in the game right now weren't pushing the fucking button. At least at a high level. Instead, just taking the armor and using the hero as a high armor hero and forgetting about the button. Yeah, this is real good. But worse with Ghastly Mask, but who cares about Ghastly Mask? Like, it was just wrong to play like that. Was it ever right? No. You're throwing if you're doing it. I love the Toki buffed. Yeah, they made Toki better. Hero power now includes 2 minions of a higher tavern tier. Okay. Toki now gonna be real good. Real good. You have the ability to not only have high armor as a hero, but you also now have 2 minions from an early tavern tier. Toki curve, leveling normal curve to 2, basically on 5 gold. Playing on 2 for 1 turn, then on 6 gold, leveling and hero powering. Instead of that next 7 gold turn being on 3, you can now double buy and hero power again. And you have now 4 4 stars to choose from instead of 2. Or you can double buy the first one and freeze the next one. So like, we're going to get a lot of 4 stars very quickly on Toki. And the overall 4-star quality is high enough that this is going to be a consistent way to recover the game. Like, you're going to have mid-game Toki turns when people hit decently. They're going to feel like Lich Baz boards now. So, like, yeah, that's great. That's real good. So, things that aren't clear here. I'm assuming these are two independent roles, not the same unit. Doesn't say two copies of a higher tier minion, so we assume that they're two different minions. You could get lucky and get two Nomis. That is a way to... It could happen. We're just going to level normal curve. We're going to level what was referred to previously as Toki curve, because this was the most common hero to do it on, is now going to once again restore to its former glory, where we level normal curve on, basically on Tavern 1, level on turn 2, play turn, or on Tavern 2 for 1 turn, then level on turn 3 and push the button, or on turn 4 and push the button. So the bad part is that this doesn't play consistently into quests, which means that Toki will take a little bit of a hit compared to good quest heroes. If quests are very important, Toki's hero power becomes a little bit worse by comparison because you can't control what tribes you're buying. You're not buying as many minions quickly for like death rattles, etc., etc. But that may be outweighed by just playing significantly higher quality minions and taking a little damage early game. So like, this is a good, absolutely good upgrade for the hero power. Toki was already a playable hero with the high armor. We will see how it plays out. When's the patch go live? Right now. It's up. Rat King. All right, well, Rat King finally got a redesigned hero power. And oh boy, is it a doozy. Whenever you buy a minion of a specific type, give it +2/2, swaps types each turn. No longer the battle cry. Or no longer the hero power, I should say. Instead, 2 gold, discover a minion of a specific type, swaps each turn. Huh. So you get to play a bunch of different tribes. You don't get to control what tribe you're discovering, but you're still buying a minion for 2 gold. Remember, tempo still matters in this game. Sinstone? Yeah, it should work with Sinstone. It should be an eligible Sinstone hero now too. And when you can buy minions of your current tavern tier for 2 gold, that's ridiculously strong. Remember what Elise was like. Remember Elise. Elise in her original form was the most busted hero in the game, and it was just 2-star or 2 gold. Discover a minion of your current tavern tier. Now, obviously, this doesn't force it to be a specific tavern tier, so it makes it a little bit worse than that. But this is still an incredibly strong hero because you have the ability to level very aggressively. Now, once again, let's circle back. Just like Toki, new true drop, we'll get to it in a second. But yes, it feels pretty good. Feels very good. Is that these hero powers do not synergize well with quests. And when quests are still in the game, these heroes will be limited a little bit. As soon as you remove quests, the relative value of the hero powers goes up because you don't have the quest to fall back upon. And heroes that have this high of value off the hero power and this high of value off a hero power will overperform. So like right now, this will be good. I fear for the lobbies for both of these hero changes when they remove quests. Hire an investigator, end your turn with unspent gold 3 times. So we ignore the number. The number will be tuned to the quest. And as always, it's going to be very hard to gauge quests without knowing what this number is going to be for different quest rewards. Crack the case. Have friendly minions attack 11 times. Whatever. This one's relatively easy to do. You can level awkward curves to take advantage of later game power and just tank some rounds here. It's very much like lose combats or order in reverse order. You're going to lose a couple rounds for it, but you're going to gain back value from the quest quicker, which is decent. Have friendly minions attack 11 times, whatever this number is. If this number is 100 times for a quest, it's obviously unplayable. If it's 1 time for a quest, then it's obviously busted as hell. Whatever the tuning is for these numbers is going to dictate whether or not these quests are decent. All right, Blood Goblet. At the end of your turn, give the rightmost minion attack equal to your missing health. Ew. Ew. It's good, don't get me wrong, but this is so awkward. Yeah, you can lose some health in the beginning of the game. You know, remember, you still have armor on a lot of heroes. So, like, once you drop to, like, 30 health, you're talking about giving minions attack equal to, like, you know, +10, +20 in a turn. Holy shit, that's a ton of power. But it's your rightmost minion. And rightmost minion means that you buff it one turn, and it most likely will be attacked into. So anytime that you have effects like Wind Fury, you have an effect like Cleave, you have effects like, Deflectobot resets, etc., etc., you're going to look at this and be like, I'm going to sacrifice the round, or at least a lot of power in this turn, to take a permanent buff. And that's good, don't get me wrong. And it's good for protecting Baron, etc., etc. Yep, agreed. Though Baron is now going to be really hunted down by the new 5-star, right? But we will see. Looks pretty good. Super boring and less mechs. I don't think it's super boring. I think it's interesting. I think it's good. Could be a taunt minion, yeah. But you don't get attacked with taunt minions either. The point still holds. Just because it is a taunt minion doesn't mean it doesn't get to attack. We assume the buff is permanent. It will be permanent. No assumption necessary. It's at the end of your turn. So, like, not going to be an in-combat effect or something. Terragosa? Yeah, but, like, who gives a shit about Terragosa? It's literally at the end of your turn. It's permanent on everyone. I just arrived. Couldn't go back to the beginning like everyone before me. Yeah, we can start with Cthulhu change. Regardless, doesn't matter about Terracosa. Absolutely zero value. But double with golden, no, that's an in combat effects doubles. Doesn't do anything with golden Terracosa. Golden Terracosa is the exact same unit. You don't get double buffs when you play like a dragon buff on Terracosa when you're in buy phase. Does literally nothing different with Terracosa. Just be aware. Nothing different with Terracosa than any other unit in the game. Could be a Divine Shield Terracosa. That makes it an eligible unit that you'd like to keep around for it. But no difference. Like if you buff a Deflectobot and you buff a Terracosa, it'll be the same number. Alright, well chat, get it out of your system. Get it out of your system. Do you want this quest right now? Pick it every time you see it? Because I have a feeling that this one's going to be chat's new favorite. At the end of your turn, add a Shifter Xeris to your hand, which transforms into random minions. This better be pretty quick to get. Let's be real. Because print 1 gold per turn ain't great. Compare it to like just the add 2 Murlocs to your hand or whatever quest. 2 demons, 2 beasts. You're going to have to assume that Shifter very quickly turns into something that you actually want to play. And if you get this thing turn 5, this is a busted quest. If you get this thing turn 8, this is a terrible quest. It does practically nothing quickly. The only time it's going to be good is if you can cheese out stuff very quickly in the game. So if this thing is quick, you can get it like Snicker Snack, or you can get it like Parasol, and you get it like turn 5. It's going to be an interesting one. You better be able to get this very quickly in a game for this to be a viable option. Otherwise, it's bait. All right, Hidden Treasure Vault. At the start of your turn, gain 1 gold, upgrades each turn. Seems pretty good. Seems like what you just got here is the suicide note for Crag. Poor Crag. It's like, this is what I want. Why can't my stuff be good? Oh, at the start of your turn, gain 1 gold. Start next turn, gain 2 gold, 3 gold. You compare this effect with like add 2 random demons to hand, and like this thing gets better within like 3 or 4 turns. And then it's just great after that point. Now, that being said, it all comes down to requirements. If this thing is like Pilfered Lamps to get online, it's not even remotely viable. If this thing is like Parasol to get online, then it's absolutely completely busted. And my guess is it's somewhere in between there, which makes it a viable choice, but not completely busted. All right. Ethereal Evidence. At the start of your turn, choose from 2 new rewards. There was clarification from one of the devs that basically said, here's a list of things that are not eligible quest rewards. Actually, we're still in gold on there. I can actually can bring up this list. Just make life easier and actually have the developer's tweet up here. Ethereal Evidence is weighted, so stronger rewards are rarer. Cookbook, Another Hidden Body, Ghastly Mask, Alter Ego, Friends Along the Way, and Hidden Treasure Vault are all banned. Okay, those are the lists that are banned. Cookbook makes sense. Another Hidden Body's too slow. Ghastly Mask is awkward because it's just the first proc. Alter Ego, also awkward because it's just the first proc. I guess Ghastly Mask because it would give you the minion. And that would be way too strong. Yeah, never mind. That's why Ghastly Mask isn't in there. Friends Along the Way. I wonder why they got Friends Along the Way out. Maybe because it changes at the beginning of next turn. Source. Right here. And another treasure or hidden treasure vault would just be 1 gold. Yeah, it doesn't seem very good. Ethereal Evidence also can't discover Ethereal Evidence. Regardless. Volatile Venom. New quest. Your minions have 8/8. After they attack, they die horribly. Alright, let's think about this one. First thought is that stats are good, but where you want stats the most, these stats are bad. So, like, you would think, okay, I get extra stats. That's kind of like Smoking Gun or whatever. Build a bunch of Divine Shields, etc., etc. But, like, Divine Shield doesn't do shit with it. As soon as they attack, they die. Sure, you could have taunted Divine Shield minions, and they could get attacked multiple times. But you can't, like, lead Deflecto and be like, yay, that 8/8 buff is super good. Leapers? Yeah, Leapers is decent. Leapers is very good with it, to be honest. Leapers, because you consistently get each of your minions to die, and they get to do more damage in the process. That's pretty cool. Death Rattle effects? Yeah, Death Rattle effects are amazing. Basically, this is an aura effect, much like Smoking Gun, where you get a bunch of Death Rattle minions, and you can then make them all 8/8s. This is like Deathwing on steroids. You can't really play toward like Mech Deflecto stuff, but if you can play a bunch of Death Rattle minions on the board, then those stats win the mid-game rounds for you, and on top of that, they then in turn snowball to like positive points. Going to be pretty tough to win the lobby off of Volatile Venom, but I genuinely believe that this card is busted and way too strong. Like absurdly strong. Like needs nerfed immediately level strong. Like if you sit there and work through like, oh, doesn't really work with this tribe, this direction, etc., etc. But then you think about it and you're like, well, I get this thing turn 7, turn 8, whatever it is. I don't lose a round for like 5 rounds. There are plenty of compositions for late game power that don't rely on minions value trading. And you have the ability to either A, steer full tempo in top 4, or B, get into one of those compositions. What's the horribly part mean? It means it screams really loudly in your ears every single time your minions attack. Like, instantly dies, and then max level volume audio, just ear-piercing scream. Every single minion. It's going to be just as good as the Leapfrogger sounds, as you are just dying to this over and over again. That's it. It has no real effect. Yeah, I mean, tinnitus? Ah, tinnitus! My ears! Like Sydney from Scream. Yeah, it has real lasting effect. You won't be able to hear. The Golden Hammer, Spellcraft. Make a friendly minion golden until next turn. Now this is gonna make gonna make that Naga line, that Lady Vosh line, pretty funny. Is it repeatable? That's what we have to, I mean, that's what people are saying. It is the same indication of a Spellcraft minion. So the quest, we have to view the quest as an aura. Yeah, okay, that works. That works. So instead of viewing the quest as a thing that completes, that has triggers in effect, we have to view the quest as like a standalone minion or whatever you have on the sideboard or whatever that triggers. That we view this thing as like, this generates each turn. Wording wise, that confused the hell out of me, but we just got to think of quests not as an aura effect, but as an entity that exists. And if that is the case, then Spellcraft would trigger just like any minion on the board. Sinfall Medallion. After you play a minion, give 2 other friendly minions of its tavern tier +2/+2. Like if this is the same, whatever. Oh, this is an aura effect. So after you play a minion, give 2 other friendly minions of its tavern tier +2/2. So it's basically like pseudo tea time quickly in the game. But it's not going to synergize well with things like Theo or whatever, because you're not going to be able to dictate what you're playing. It is a way to scale. Lizard Gaming, yeah, it's not bad for that. Tier 3s and Deflecto is my immediate thought. That this thing is busted in mech lobbies. It allows you to never leave Tavern 3 and just scale Deflectos and resets. You might go to 4 eventually to play for utility cards. But you don't have to go to the moon. You can just play cards that are, you know, key scalable minions like Deflectobot and bring them up each turn by like 10, 10, 12, 12. You'll win the mid game real hard, and then you have the ability to pivot toward Deflectos to win the lobby. Like in mech lobbies, this thing seems absolutely busted. All you really need is to find Deflecto. Tavern 2 strat? Tavern 1 strats? Yeah, Tavern 2 strats with Trickster. Gains a little bit of value. You can play like Lizard, like Demon Sorrowlisk, like the olden days. But overall, I would imagine that this cheesable line for this is not like super, super strong. It's just a good tempo quest, which, you know, most of the good tempo quests are top tier quests right now. So if you get this thing relatively quickly, especially in mech lobbies, this could be very strong. Kidnap Sack. Spellcraft. Choose a... Oh god, Spellcraft. Choose a non-golden minion, add it to your hand. You can target the tavern. I remember seeing that clarification. So it's a free minion. It creates triples. Yep. With you on that. So basically, you can replay like Shadow Step with your own board, or you can buy a minion for free in the tavern. Orgazoa Shadow Step. Yeah, it's okay. A little bit better where you can replay it. It also allows you to pull minions off the board that in specific scenarios where you need a tech piece and you don't need to buy it back again. Things like Ghoul, for example, against George, then pick it back up again. Have it for a later turn. You can play cards that are battle cry effects multiple times with things like Bran, Jandis for, Jandis value with swap and whatnot. Makes the leveling curve a little easier. Picking up cards out of the tavern just for free is good too. Keeps enchantments. Should keep enchantments. They removed Reef Explorer, otherwise Reef Explorer would have been a very, very, very good hit here. Any build that needs a cycle spot? Yeah, but cycle spots aren't a problem in this game. Cycle spots are just a lack of planning. Like, people aren't really limited by cycle spots at the moment. Battlemaster? Yeah, Battlemaster's okay, but like, Battlemaster's pretty bad already, and making a 530 into a 560 isn't that much better right now. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be a time where you want a Battlemaster, etc., etc. It's okay. It's not bad. I can't think of anywhere that this is, like, absurdly broken. Why is Battlemaster a card, though? It's a stop loss that exists on 5. If you do power level, you have an out to put a bunch of stats on the board. Problem is, Battlemaster is outscaled by quests right now. The turns where Battlemaster used to stabilize you, back in, say, you know, prior to quest meta, we accelerate through those so damn quickly with quests that, like, you aren't dealing with boards with a bunch of 10-10s on them anymore. You're dealing with boards with 20-20s very quickly. Yo, Dozy Whelp. 1-star dragon. If I'm correct, they didn't remove a 1-star. Did we really just dilute the pool of 1-stars even further? Let me, Spawn, Gem Splitter, Reef Explorer, Amalgam, Nosy Looter, and Urel have been removed from the minion pool. We'll start with that. 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, 3-star, 6-star, 2-star. We just diluted the 1-star pool again. And Mug is back. Yeah, we need Muggin back in chat. We got Mugs. Spawn, Sag. Spawn and Urel. Getting rid of stat scaling on 2. Making 3-on-3 better again. Or stat, tempo minions on 2, I should say. So we just diluted the 1-star pool in dragon lobbies. So whenever dragons are in, you're going to be less likely to find battle cries, tokens, etc., etc. Which is pretty interesting. The biggest impact of most of these cards on Tavern 1 is just the economy distribution for heroes that need to find economy units. Tavern 1, Dragon, 0-3, whenever this minion is attacked, gain 1 attack permanently, is basically like yay, it gets to be a 3/3 or 4/3 or whatever in the middle of the game. It's a little more relevant, but it's still a 3 health minion. Like, you're going to play this shit over bad tempo 1-stars. But you're not going to pick this stuff up over economy units, nor over death rattle units, most likely. Sorry, I wasn't listening. Can you repeat that? Sleepy dragon thing here is asleep and not super useful. Alright, so basically, this little fucker needs to be on your board to upgrade, I assume. Can it be in your hand and upgrade? I think it has to be on board. So, like, that would be my interpretation of it. I haven't seen clarification one way or another. I can maybe change that. We had a little clarification here on this card. Patient Scout is tripled. It'll keep the highest tier out of the 3 minions that made it. In other words, if you had a tier 3, a tier 2, and a tier 1, the golden will be a tier 3. So very much like when you triple Elise, it keeps the stat count of the best one. There's so many things here. Patient Scout will not upgrade in hand. There you go. I saw it. Yeah, I saw it on the other screen while I was being sarcastic with you. There you go. Has to be on board. So you have to put a neutral 1/1 on your board so that you can discover something of a higher tavern tier. Seems pretty slow. You could keep this thing on the board for 5 turns to get a 6-star. Oh boy. Is this playable? Is this not tempo suicide? You're basically playing nothing in a slot on the board. You've spent 3 gold, and then you get the ability to potentially... Like, it's good with, like, Gallywix, because with Gallywix, it prints a gold. Theo value? Yeah, we're going to need a couple neutrals. If you notice the pool of minions that were removed, one of the side effects of the pools of minions that was removed is that neutral minion, and neutral minion. Like, these are non-tribal 3 of the 6, which means Theo gets significantly worse. But this is a good card for Theo. Is this not positive gold if you discover tokens or good for quest completion? Yeah, it's very good for quest completion. The idea that, like, you have 3 economy units in on Tavern 1, you could just cycle this card, look for an economy unit, sell it back, and then get, like, you know, minions played, summoned, or, I guess in that scenario, there's a couple other little things with, like, Khadgar with Alley Cat could print a gold, etc., etc. There's a little bit of value. Yeah, the other neutral was added. Yeah, there's a couple other things that help. I was only saying, like, remember we removed a few of them. Now we have to add some back so that Theo is not much worse, or is equivalent. If you get this on turn 1, it's almost like playing Cookie. Bruh, it's a tier 2 minion. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm high. That's why we're talking about it's so hard to play, is like, it's a tier 2 that you'd have to keep on the board for like 3 turns before it becomes valuable enough that, like, it was worth playing. If you're fighting AFK or Ambassador, it's kind of a free tier 2 or something like that, turn 1. I'm looking for something to throw. Stop it! What is this? What is this number right here? It's so good on turn 1, says Twitch chat. Stop it! It's a tier 2 minion. It's so good on turn 1. Yeah, you know what else is good on turn 1? All minions that are tier 2 or above. But you can't get those either. I love you guys. That's awesome. Way too many times. But what if you play in turn 1, Bofur? I don't know. I guess we're going to have to find out. All right, moving on. There's a lot of experimentation to do with this. The reason I like talking about cards like this is there's a lot of theory crafting that we could do. But we kind of exhausted this one a little bit. We'll figure out what we can do with this if we get it turn 1. All right. Bristlemane Scrapsmith. Tier 3 Quillbore. This is effectively replacing Gym Splitter. Greybow Cheese, a few other things. Yeah. Like, Blood gems are good. This is a 3-star 4/4. So like, I blame my dictation. I got you what you're saying. Took me a second to read it and then digest it. It's a 4/4 body, which is good in the mid game. If you have any taunt, then this is an auto buy. Because it generates a spell and it generates a 1/1 stat per turn, which a 4/4 generating a stat per turn is super good. Like a 4/4 getting 2/2 per turn is like Gold Grubber. And Gold Grubber in the middle of the game is a good card if you could get it super early. Because then you can just take, 10, 10, 11, 11. And then you can pivot more in the taunt, and there is more taunt synergy upcoming. This card seems a little bit too strong to me. That the 4/4 stat line is too much. This should probably be a 3/4. Anything that gives scaling and is competitive tempo-wise is a very, very good card. I think it's really good when you get it turn 1. Yeah, this would be pretty busted on turn 1 as well. All right, let's go to the next one and see if it'd be busted on tier 1. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Chat. Is this a tier 4 minion? Or is this a tier 3 minion? Oh, no. We've had so much confusion on what tier minions are. Now we actually have confusion. Oh, God. What if we get this thing on tier 1? Oh, no. All right, we're done for. We're fucked. All right. 6 attack, 4 health, battle cry, transform a minion into one of a higher or tier higher. It's a 3 currently. God damn it. What is going on with patch notes? It's a 3. It's actually a 3. So you can tavern, or you can target something in the tavern, right? It's actually tier 3. I don't know why this is actually tier 3. Why is this tier 3 and why does this say 4? Yeah, the safer assumption should have been that it's a tier 3 minion because they probably didn't fuck up the artwork. They probably changed a number on the website. But balance-wise, I think this should be a tier 4. Like, which one's more likely? Did they forget to put a star on the card, or did somebody type the wrong number in the patch notes? Oh no, the card forgot its star. That's a lot of stats on a tier 3. Makes for a good minion. You can target your own board if you have cyclable minions in the mid game, but if you get it early, you're probably targeting the tavern. It's probably both since it's Blizzard. It was intended to be a 3 here and a 4 there. It's actually a 5-star maybe. Yeah, it seems busted. Seems really good. Like this kind of thing with Bran, we can immediately think we turn stuff into 6 stars in the mid game. Especially when Bran is a hero that you can get this thing super early. Snickersnacks make some crazy stuff happen. I mean, Snickersnacks probably actively sabotages your board, but crazy is the correct word. What could you do, Bofur? We could leave it on the board and all of our buff minions can turn into bullshit. Yeah, that's an option, I suppose. That is a thing. It's your own Yogg wheel, basically. But yeah, the immediate value of like later, or the immediate value from the battle cry effect makes this a cyclable card in some scenarios. With Bran, it's good, but mostly it's a good tempo card. And the reason it's strong is because it's a 6/4 that enables getting a 4-star early. It's not busted because like the effect is so consistent that it always gives you direction or something like that. What if Snickersnack transforms it into a 4-star version? Yeah, it transforms itself and it just updates the number. That'd be funny. All right, Vigilant Stoneborn. 2 attack, 6 health, tier 4. Terrible stat line. Give a minion 6 health and taunt. Fantastic effect. So remember, taunt synergy is really good now. We have another way to create taunt. Yeah, it's 12 health on a minion if you have Bran. We're about to get the big 6-star taunt card here in a second, which incentivizes playing taunt in the mid game a lot more. 2/6 by itself is trash, but if you have any minion on the board with like 5 or 6 attack, 6 health to that is going to make up the bad stat lines here. Yesterday, Bofur says taunt comp was his least favorite meta. Today we get taunt patch. Coincidence? The big problem with taunt comp meta was that you didn't have to leave Tavern 4. In fact, people were going 4-on-4 and then staying on 4 the entire game. That was not a great time period. You literally just played the cards that were given to you in the tavern and never made decisions. It was a rough one. Now the cards that enable taunt comp are at least all over the place. This is Vol'jin's patch. That's pretty good for Vol'jin. This thing is interesting, but only interesting because of the 6-star that's upcoming, and we haven't talked about it yet. We'll come back. Ball of Minions, Tavern Tier 4. All tribes. This is our new amalgam. It's also fuzzy and crinkly and made of a totem. There's a totem in the Ball of Minions, guys. Totem's confirmed. There's Murlocs, Beasts, Quillbore, Mechs, Pirates, Naga, Totems. Totem. Right here. Calling it right now. Next tribe. That's probably undead, let's be real. Did you watch what happened today? Did you watch the stream? It gonna be undead. But there's a dragon. There's a totem. There's treants, but treants are elementals. We have that tribe already. All right, 5/5 instead of a 3/4, but it's a tavern tier higher now. When you sell this, give its stats to a random friendly minion. Also, very good. The ability to buy these things in the mid-game, buff them, and not lose the stats when you sell them, super nice. Cards like Lightfang and Bran are awkward with a card like this, because while you can buff the card, you're going to want to sell this card in the mid-game to put utility on the board. Anima Bribe's gone, so like, I like Anima Bribe as much as the next guy, but Anima Bribe has been disabled. Wherever it is right here. Boop. It's gone. And if you keep Bran or Lightfang or whatever on the board when you sell the Ball of Minions, you know you're buffing that Bran or Lightfang. But yeah, you get to keep it for a while. You get to put some premium minions around it, then move the stats to them. It's going to be real strong. Cookbook broken. Yeah, if it doesn't get run over. These kind of things are super nice for those kind of quests. So it definitely makes it better. Mutinous Buddy. Yeah, if we get buddies back, it's going to be real good for Mutinous. All right, moving on. Bottom. Leapers. Get fucked. All right, Interrogator, White Mane, Tavern Tier 5. 8/5 minions. Start a combat. Give enemies opposite this taunt. They take double damage. Leapers, Mind Games, Inc. So the first thought is, why does it say enemies? Probably because you can play 6 minions and then put it between 2 cards. So you could taunt up 2 things. Assuming that it works that way, we now have the ability to counterplay cards like, yeah, you play 6 minions with this card the vast majority of the time, double taunt up 2 things. And then you can just taunt up Baron, you can taunt up Mama Bears, you can taunt up all kinds of shit. It's good for cleave. The take double damage part seems kind of whatever. But the ability to potentially counterplay minions you're trying to hide behind a comp makes White Mane an absolute force as a counterplay tool to beat specific compositions. Now that being said, why is this a 5-star and Zap is a 6-star? I would have liked them to remove Zap and add this card and put it on 6. Because it's very good at dealing with tempo boards that utilize, like, you know, piecewise compositions to put it all together. Why is it super accessible and on 5? Because it's going to very much invalidate like 4 compositions in this game. One of the compositions being Exodia Mech, one of them being Exodia Pirates, another one being Frogger. Maybe they didn't think it would be as strong since Taunt Comp is in now. Yeah, I mean, what they're doing is adding a counterplay card that removes the incentive to play toward piecewise compositions where you don't scale. Which is fine as long as scaling is balanced. But what we know about quest meta is that is not the case. So all of the ways of playing the game, if you do not find scaling early, are going to take a hit because of White Mane being in the game. And the runaway conditions still exist in the game. Thank God we have poison. Because if there wasn't poison, this card was just going to create Battlegrounds 1.0 scenario where the only 2 cards in the game that gave good scaling We're either hit them by turn 7 or die. All right. Vanessa Van Cleef, Tavern Tier 5 Pirate, 3 attack, 7 health. When this attacks, give your pirates +2/+1 permanently. Seems good for mid-game tempo damage control game, seems bad for long-term value. There are very few pirates in this game that you really want attack scaling on permanently. Exodia pirates took a massive hit, so like playing toward mid-game pirate tempo is going to take a little bit of a hit too. You have, I guess you have Amalgam. Amalgam is a decent hit, or ball of bullshit, whatever it's called, is a decent hit in mech lobbies because you do get attack scaling for a Divine Shield. We'll get to that one in a second. But overall, this is just like a sheer tempo card, right? Ball of totems, ball of stuff. All of bullshit. All right. Walking Fort, Tavern Tier 6. This is the big one. Ball of Bullshit is its name now. Permanently its name. The Ball of Bullshit. Didn't they remove Amalgam? Yeah, but Ball of Bullshit's the new Amalgam. It's all tribes as well. So like this is Amalgam. This is Amalgam right here. At the end of your turn, give 4 friendly taunt minions +4/4. You can taunt this thing up and it can scale itself as well. So, what does this mean? This means, number 1, if you have taunts on the board and you get this thing, you get a ton of stats. Okay. Strong. 4/6 health. Reasonable enough for a 6-star if you have at least like two taunts. If the taunts are Divine Shields and whatnot, like this thing has Greasebot just crying in the corner. Taunt comp is super, super strong. But it isn't game-winning strong, right? This is like I get a bunch of mid-game tempo. It's much like Charlie back in the olden days before they nerfed Charlie and it's in her original form, where it was too many stats to ignore in the right kind of bullshit kind of game. You could use it to level straight to 6, but typically you weren't going to want to steer into this kind of stuff. If you have mechs in, great. If you have Ghastly Mask, great. Yeah. End of turn effects doubling. This gives another way, like Ghastly Mask becomes better with like demons and this. Taunt the new dragon for the arm buff too. Man, so strong. But yeah, you get a couple Divine Shields, give them taunt in the mid game, then look for this kind of stuff. It's good too. Mask gets better. What else gets better? Is anything really synergized with this other than Mask? I don't think so. The Mask dies horribly. Yeah, while screaming Mariah Carey all the way to the grave. Anything else that synergizes well with this? Probably not. This is just a sheer huge chunk of stats. And if you have premium minions that you can taunt up, it becomes a win condition. Okay, cool. You can already see where this is going. Taunt up a couple mech rolls. Taunt some deflecto bots, whatever it might be. Go full mechs. This becomes the end game for mechs. Minion updates. Profit of the boar has been reduced to 2/3. But it is now a taunt minion. Interesting. The first time I read this, it was like, why did they nerf Prophet of the Boar? Now it's a taunt. You missed the Quillbore part, the Blood Gem part, Bofur. Oh, after it's not once per turn anymore. Yeah, but that's not a major difference. They removed the once per turn. You're right. You're right. It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. But how many times you play multiple Quillbore in a turn? In the later portions of the game, it gets a little bit better, but this isn't a major change. This is a very small change in the mid game. You don't tend to keep these things on the board past like turn 7. Maybe that first turn, if you're leveling normal curve and you're on Tavern 3, maybe you play 2 Quillbore in the same turn, you get an extra 1/1. But that's about it. Maybe if you get this thing golden and you can cycle some shit. Seems like an odd change. I would have liked to see this one be 3/3 still. Don't give it taunt, keep it 3/3, and then just make it the buff be not once per turn proc. All right. Terracosa. functional change here. There's a small functional change here. Not going to do anything major different in the mid game. All it does is just like you don't keep negative debuffs. So if like there was an Interrogator white main across from this, it won't keep the I take double damage for the rest of the game. All right, we went through this already. Mug's back, by the way. And then we have like change of a couple minions. Taking away Reef Explorer does hurt Bran, and it does hurt Snickersnack as a quest, and it also hurts Galliwix as a hero. So like this is a pretty substantial change. Bro, is it that the lights, or do you just have lighter color eyes? Like today? It's just that I have lighting change here. Like this is so bright in front of me. Boom. Now this is like, that's about the normal color scheme of the stream. Boop. That is my eye color. It's just a lot brighter.